pumped to be here at Popdust. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, and you guys have all sorts of cool stuff going on. Let's talk about your equipment first. You know,
Okay,
like
cool.
all the fun gadgets that you use. You've got this.
Harvey's
awesome
your guy for
billboard.
that.
Yeah, I'm your guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, actually, I mean, I just use these pedals pretty much in the studio, live. I play in a couple like roots folk bands, and they're great. When we do like the indie rock, pop, screaming solos, they're great.
Nice.
I mean, the one thing
it's
here
part of
that
your instrument, basically.
yeah, without doing like some kind of weird brand shout out, this Blue Sky reverb pedal is probably my favorite guitar pedal of all time.
Cool. I was gonna ask your favorite, so.
Yeah, and it has this amazing thing like where if I play like you know, without it, when you turn it on, you crank it, you get some really cool like effect
Sounds like
almost
fog.
type of stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, so it kind of
You have a strong metaphor game.
Yeah, you do,
yeah,
totally.
It's a foggy guitar pedal.
Yeah, it is got a real fog to it. But anyway, so I love that one.
Nice.
Cool.
Nice. I always love hearing about gear, and you use corks and pump.
Yeah. This is funny. This is something that I got a long time ago when we were growing up in Maine, just as like a small portable one. I didn't even really quite know about synthesizers. I just like got this because I thought it kind of looked cool, and it kind of sat for a while until we realized when we started making these records, it's actually kind of cool piece of gear, and we dusted it off for this.
Actually, yeah, we haven't used it in a long time,
Yeah.
specifically for this, because we basically, for a lot of this stuff, when we have like a pad going on, it's a Juno, which is like a bigger analog synthesizer from the 80s, and it's impossible and unwieldy to like bring around, and I was like, I wonder if that could kind of do something like the Juno, and it turned out it did, so
Yeah, it sounded
we love
cool.
it now. Yeah, it's
Sounded
perfect for stuff like this.
Nice. So fun fact, guys, they are brothers. I didn't pick up on that right away. So you guys are from Maine, huh?
Yeah, originally.
Cool.
Yeah.
What did you grow up listening to?
I think like when we were really young, our parents had like U2 and Tom Petty, and my mom loved the Beatles, our dad liked both the Rolling Stones, kind of thing.
Pretty like standard kids who grew up in the 70s. Like our mom is like a
Right.
Beatles freak, you know, not the only one, but she had like every record chronologically in vinyl growing up, and would just like put them on, you know. And I think as far as music education goes, listening to a lot of Beatles is pretty much the move.
It's like
So,
what defined
yeah.
now, so.
Yeah, so that was a lot of like, and Abner's into a lot of, I mean I am too, but like songwriter oriented musicians like Tom Petty or
Yeah, he's probably like
Sure.
the guy.
yeah.
He's your guy.
He's not only my guy. I feel like other people have claim to him too,
Of
but
course.
Yeah.
but yeah, he's definitely the guy.
Yeah, I was going to ask, as you guys, got older, started to develop your own tastes in music, who did you start listening to? Tom Petty, obviously, carried over.
Yeah, I mean, I think like growing up, like for me, the strand was kind of like songwriters, like songs that sound as good just like on acoustic guitar as they did built out.
So like the
studio.
Wallflowers.
Like Oasis, like the Wallflowers in the beginning.
Yeah.
And I think like in high school like the Killers, or like middle school, high school the Killers. So like that kind of tradition, going forward.
Right.
And then
I was into like weirder stuff. Like I liked like Pavement and like more like lo-fi, trashy indie records. This guy Mark Linkus, who's in a band Sparkle Horse, I was like really into. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. I was like, it was one of those things where I think a guy who was like in grad school who like worked for my dad at the time, so he was like an older generation of super cool dudes. Like, you should check out this band. And I don't know if it was because like some really cool older person said it was cool that I totally became obsessed. But it stuck. Like I'm still obsessed. But yeah,
That's awesome.
some more odd picks from me probably.
yeah.
And so have you guys always played music together? Was that something you decided to do later on?
I think like growing up, there's like a 3-year age difference between us. So in the beginning, that's like a pretty big age difference,
Yeah.
But there's always music going on in the house, and I think like informally, we grew up playing music together a lot. And then I went out to California for a few years after high school, and that's kind of ironically when we started collaborating more in terms of like sending kind of ideas back and forth, whatever. And then I ended up back in New York, and it just kind of things fell into place to actually get into it.
Well, I am like a producer, so I had a little production suite, and I was working with the artists, and Abner does a lot of like videography stuff, so he builds a camera a little bit.
Nice. You guys have the whole skill set.
So-
to do it.
Yeah, so I mean, we kind of both like were ready to collaborate in a more official way when he came back from the West Coast, and we tried some stuff, and like this band came out of like one song basically, which we did the song 3:30, which is the first song we put out, and when we were making it, the idea was just to like unwind, do something fun together, collaborate in some music which we hadn't done in a while, and like the plan was not to like release it. Like it allowed us to sort of do weirder stuff basically because we didn't have to worry about what people would think or is that too Justin Bieber to do that? Is that gonna be weird?
That's too country to do that?
Is it too country? So we did all like the most embarrassing stuff we could think of. And actually the next day we woke up and we did not have a production hangover when you're like, oh my god, we were like, oh, this is actually kind of cool, like maybe we should do more. And yeah, it was just like a perfect time in our lives to just work together on a project. So
nice.
Right?
Yeah.
That sounds awesome. So collaborating together, you guys obviously, when you were in California, did you collaborate with anybody? Did you have any other experiences collaborating?
You know, I was just at school in California. I was studying film out there actually, so I did a lot of that kind of collaboration. But part of the reason that I ended up coming back to New York was that I like realized that in kind of our off time between classes, all of my kind of friends were like making movies, and I was like making songs in my apartment. And I was like, oh, maybe like that's that's what I should be doing. And so mostly it was just you were it was like video collaborations and then doing stuff while Harper was doing more.
Yeah, I work with a lot of artists. And
so you produce. And
yeah.
You've collaborated.
Yeah.
What do you guys have any kind of like sibling like I don't know?
Yeah.
Connection there, like I don't know. Like, is it a different kind
of collaboration? You mean like mind melding stuff?
Yeah, I was like looking for a word. You said that I was good at metaphors, and then I like couldn't find the word.
Yeah, totally.
I think so. I mean, I think it also comes from like just kind of like a shared vocabulary from growing up, listening to the same music, and kind of just being around the same, like not exactly, but being around the same kind of.
Well, there is like musical, like I mean, because when I work with artists, sometimes there is like that gap where we have different like.
Reference
ways of, well, they'll be talking about something, and they'll mention an artist, and I'll think of like one thing about that artist, but they'll think of something else, and so there's always that part of it is like the communication. But when we're working together, it's like not to harp on Tom Petty, but he's like a great production example. Like those like Tom Petty acoustic guitars, and like like the two acoustic guitars on the left and right, and they're like really shiny, and like they're on like Free Falling or whatever, and we know,
yeah. Nice.
So there's that.
Do you think growing up in Maine, it's such a beautiful place? Did it have an influence on your music?
I think, yeah,
you spend a lot of time when it's cold inside in your room, like practicing your instrument. I mean, I think that's like that's like a known fact about musicians from Maine is like they get their musicianship from isolation and depression.
I didn't even think about that because I like to hibernate in New York.
Right.
So
there's definitely overlap there. Yeah, the long winters I think influenced.
Winters.
I think it's interesting. I mean, I think there's definitely like. One of the things that I always encounter is that because I don't know if it's because it takes like just that much longer for things to get to Maine because it's like as far from California as you can get. I like talk to my friends from New York or from California or from even just like honestly anywhere else about their experiences and the music they were listening to growing up and realize that like even like if we were listening to the radio like it wasn't really playing exactly like the
hottest.
Yeah, the stuff that was happening. There was like still like a lot of kind of classic rock and like there was a lot of college station stuff going on, and so it was kind of I'll frequently be in a situation where a song that apparently was the only song in 1997 or like 2001 or something.
That makes sense.
And so I think in that way it was definitely
impactful, but then again that lets you kind of hear everything at your own pace and draw from what you really are
totally for sure totally no it's cool.
So how long have you guys been in the city?
I've been here since 2004.
Nice.
Yeah, I've been here since like 2010.
Nice, very cool. What's your favorite thing about the city?
I really like working at a studio. I mean, and then that's like I think New York is tough because it's hard to find your people because there's so many people.
Totally.
But I think that one of the benefits of being here now for like 10 years or more is that it takes a long time to find your people, but I think when you do, you can really build a life that you want. And I feel like there is some merit to sticking it out. And there's also a downside to sticking it. You go slowly insane.
Like,
yeah, exactly. But Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think one of the reasons too that I decided to come to New York from California was that I feel like there was a sense it's such like an open kind of public place. Like you can find the people doing the things that you want, and it's like if you're willing to kind of like fight it out to a certain extent, you can find those situations to be in a way that's
I think everyone
unlike anywhere else.
Everyone lives in their own bubbles, which is kind of cool because people create their own sort of worlds, you know, and then they intersect
You
and
decide when to pop somebody's bubble.
exactly, just boom. Yeah, that's my favorite thing.
Your favorite thing
Yeah,
to do,
exactly.
pastime, just like random guy in the street.
Exactly.
Totally.
But,
What are some of your like guilty pleasures? Like New York, there's so much good food everywhere. Like I don't know how any of us stop eating ever. Do you have like a favorite go-to place that like you totally didn't have in Maine and it's here?
oh yeah, like at like 1 a.m, like getting chicken and rice at the halal stand, like on the corner
Alright,
of
nice.
Church Avenue. That's the move.
Pizza. It's just
Pizza?
like I still
Do you
think
have a
I
favorite
just
spot?
we need to like have a whole nother interview about this.
But basically, your thing is like any pizza. Like,
But I think it is partly because like growing up in Maine, obviously it wasn't that the pizza game is like not it's not not in strong
it's
way
a really
this
good food
year.
town actually, but the pizza
Yeah,
game is
no,
not.
but
the
the
same.
pizza, and I just like think I just have a genetic thing where I just like it so much that I almost like wouldn't trust my ability to differentiate between to
I
be
see.
a good
You're
critic
like,
because I like it
Are
all
there
so.
carbs? Is there cheese? We're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's So
Nice.
that's
So do you guys go back and play in Portland at all?
You know, over
Or
the
what's
years
it?
we have like not with 80/90 actually.
Okay.
Yeah, right? Have we? No, I don't think
I
so.
don't think we
It would be
have-
fun to do
we-
that.
To do like a
It would be
homecoming?
fun.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
fun.
I think one of the things about this band too is like we kind of almost like did it in reverse. Like we started with like in the studio on a song, and then we decided we wanted to do more songs, and then we did an EP before we got kind of a band together. And so that was like the last 6 months or so has been almost about like reorienting ourselves. So we're like we like have our band, we have our set, we have like our a new EP that we're putting out and all that stuff. And so I think hopefully soon we'll start to do things like play in other cities.
Sure. So when does this EP come out?
Well, favorite song is like the first track on it,
Mhm.
and I don't know. We should probably talk to Abe about that.
So soon.
No, but soon though.
Soon,
We're kind of
yeah.
in the process, in the first stages of a process that's not going to stop until it's out.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
We can't wait to hear it because
Yeah.
your favorite song is just great. It's like
Thank you.
mellow. It's all good vibes.
Keep it coming.
Yeah, totally. Listen to it, guys. Where can we find it? Everywhere, right?
Yeah, you can find it everywhere. It's on Spotify and like, Apple Music and all that.
All of it.